Hello guys, welcome to the session. The question which we'll be seeing today is compiler design, limit the method instructions. Okay, see this problem is it's more similar to a balancing brackets problem. Okay, so you would have worked with problems where a string will be given and you need to check whether the brackets are balanced or not balanced, right? This question is more or less like that, but with a little bit of complications. To be able to solve this problem, you should be comfortable with stack concepts, and also you should be comfortable with condition making. Yes, so for a problem, how do we develop the condition, how do we derive the condition, you should be comfortable with all those. Only then we can proceed into the problem. Okay, so even if you don't know stack, it doesn't matter. Anyway, I'll explain you how a stack works and everything. Yes, not in too much detail, just whatever is necessary for a problem, but ensure you know how to use condition statements. For example, if, else if, and deciding on the condition whether to use and operator or operator. Be comfortable with all those and proceed with the problem. Okay, so take a look at the question now. So read the question first. So Raj is a newbie to the programming, and while learning the programming language, he came to know the following rules. Okay. So while he was learning the programming language, he understood the following rules. Let me display the rules part alone. Look at this. Each program must start with curly bracket and end with curly brackets, right? So I'll note down whatever is important for us because it is not efficient to read the question again and again. Yes. So just as soon as you look at the question, I can see that there is a curly bracket involved here, angular bracket, and a round bracket, right? There are three sets of brackets involved here. So as I see the problem, I'll note down what is the purpose of each bracket. Yes, so in the first line they are telling me about a curly bracket, and they say each program must start with one and end with a curly bracket. We'll note it down. Yes, first point is about curly brackets, and they say program should start and end with the curly brackets. So this should be present at start and end. Okay. Now look at the second line. Each program must contain only one main function. Main function should start with angular bracket and end with the angular bracket. Right? So the purpose of angular bracket. Second one, angular bracket. Where do we use this? In a main function only. Okay, should be present only once. Did you see that in the question? They have said each program must contain only one main function, which means the angular bracket should be present only once. So it indicates main and it should be present only once. Okay, next step. A program may or may not contain user-defined function. There is no limitation on the number of user-defined functions in the program. User-defined functions must start with round brackets and end with a round bracket. So I can understand that this round bracket indicates user-defined functions, right? It indicates a user-defined function and there is no limitation on the number of user defined functions. Okay, so third thing they are telling about round brackets. These round brackets indicate user defined function and you may have any number of user defined function. There is no limitation on the count of user defined functions. Yes, next one. Loops are allowed only inside the function. That is, the function can be either main function or user defined function. So loops can be present where only within the function, whichever function it might be it main function or be it user defined function, loop can be present in any function and every loop must start with curly bracket and end with curly bracket. which means we have a minute complication here. Curly brackets have two purposes. What are the two purposes? It indicates start and end of the program. The entire program start and end is indicated with curly bracket, and at the same time start of a loop and end of a loop is also indicated with a curly bracket, right? We'll note down the rules alone, and as we proceed we'll see how to differentiate among the two. Okay, so for curly brackets there are two functions. One is it is present at start and end of the program. Second one, which I've added just now, look at the second point, it is also used for loops and it should be present within a function. When I use it as a loop, it should be present within a function. That function could be main function or it could be user defined function. It doesn't really matter. Okay, next point. User-defined functions are not allowed to be defined inside main function or other user-defined functions. Which means if you're going to define a user-defined function, it should not be present within a main function and it should not be present within other user defined function. Note it down. This round bracket indicates user defined function, right? So user defined function are not allowed inside another function, be it user defined or main, it doesn't matter. It is not allowed within another function. Okay, next point. Nested loops are allowed. How are loops indicated? Loops are indicated with curly brackets. Now they are telling us loops can be nested. One loop can be placed within another loop. So nested loops are allowed. Okay. Next one. Instructions can be anywhere inside the program. So until this point, they were speaking about brackets, right? Curly bracket, angular bracket, round bracket, and loops, which uses the same bracket. Until this point, we were discussing about brackets, but here we are discussing about instructions. We are speaking about instructions. Okay. So what do they say about instruction? It can be anywhere inside the program. So apart from these three parts, we have a fourth part which is instruction. Clear? And this instruction can be present anywhere within the program. Within the program, remember that, not outside the program. Inside our program, it can be anywhere. Okay. Last rule, number of instructions inside any user defined function must not be more than 100. Okay, so when I come to a user defined function, for a user defined function instructions should not be more than 100. So for a user defined function instruction should not be more than 100, which automatically indicates for a main function you can have any number of instructions, right? They are saying only for a user defined function maximum is 100, which directly derives the next point as there are no limitation on number of instructions for main function. Clear? So this is what they have mentioned in the question. There are just four important points mentioned in the question. One is about curly brackets, next is angular brackets, third is round bracket, and fourth is about instructions. Okay, now why did they give us all these conditions? See, if any of the above condition is not satisfied, then the program will generate compilation errors. I think we are very familiar with this. Even when we type a code in any compiler, if you don't follow the rules, if the brackets are not balanced, in that case we will get a compilation error. Even if we miss a semicolon or if we miss like a printf is typed wrongly, in all those cases we will be having compilation errors generated because of some syntax mistakes, right? So this job is actually done by the compiler. It will check whether your program has any compilation errors. But in this scenario, we are going to do that task. Okay, we are going to find out whether the program will compile without any errors or not. Okay, so Raj has typed a program. He has written a few programs, but he is not sure about the correctness, which means you, as in the coder, is going to find out whether his program is correct or not. Not logically speaking, but according to a compiler, will it be proper or not? That is what we are going to check. So we are going to develop a program to implement this process. All right. Now take a look at the format. Input format. First line starts with T. T indicates number of test cases. Each test case will contain a single line L, where L is the program written. Okay. So we are not just going to deal with one line of program. We will have multiple lines of program. So you need to say, if I give you three lines, for example, T value is 3. If I give you three lines, we will be having three lines of input. So analyze each line. Say whether first line is right or wrong. Say whether second line is compiled without any errors. Say whether third line is compiled without any errors. Like that, analyze it for each line. Okay. So if there are no compilation errors, you need to print it as no compilation errors, otherwise print it as compilation errors. Okay, so let me develop the code till this point. Yes, what is going to be our input? First line starts with T, indicating number of test cases. We'll get that. Okay, T indicates number of test cases, which means I need to check for T number of lines. So create a loop for that. ITR less than or equal to T, ITR plus plus. Clear? T indicates number of test cases. So take all the test cases, and each time what will be given as input? Each time a single line indicating the program will be given as input. So get that line. Scanf percentage yes, comma. So declare a character array. I'm going to name it as str, but proper naming will be L. Since we have to avoid using single letter variables, I'm using it as str. So scanf percentage yes, comma str. Now we'll be having multiple doubts like is the size 1000 correct, or what if the string contains spaces? Should we scan it along with the spaces, or should we ignore the spaces? If I should scan it along with spaces, we will give it as not/n, right? So we have so many queries about this, which is why you should view the constraint part. Okay, so L is a text and can be composed of any of these characters. It can have any of the three brackets and P. What is this P? P is nothing but the instruction. Okay, we already said there are four scenarios we need to check. What are the four scenarios? Three sets of brackets and the value P. P is nothing but instruction. So L is made up of these values only, and L comprised of characters mentioned above should be single space delimited. Delimiter is nothing but the end value. Okay, when I say delimit, stop with this value. So when should you stop? When you reach the single space, stop it. Okay, which means don't scan it along with spaces, scan it without spaces. Okay, percentage yes. So as soon as we see a space, we should stop the process. Okay, and look at the next line of constraints. Number of characters less than or equal to 10,000. We may have up to 10,000 characters, which means our string should be 10,001, because along with the characters you need one space for null character also. So 10,000 input values plus one null value means string should be of size 10,001. Okay, so this is the input part. And in the output part, if there are no compilation errors, print no compilation errors, otherwise print compilation errors. So I can say once I finish the process, if there are no errors, printf no compilation errors, errors, right? Otherwise printf compilation error. Okay, so I have obtained the input and I have printed the output. Yes, so this will repeat t number of times. Basic. Now we need to decide how could I say whether it is having any error or whether it is not having any error. That is the point we are going to focus next. Okay, so as I said already, to be familiar with that, we should be comfortable with stack concept, right? Okay, so what did we learn in the constraint part? We learned that P will represent the instruction. I'm going to take it along with our notes. We have already written about instruction. So now I'll just add it as instruction is represented as P. So from now on, I'm not going to look back into the main function. I'm not going to look back into the original question. I'm going to focus only on the points I have made here. Yes. See guys, the reason I'm explaining to you step by step is whenever you approach a question, not just this question, whenever we approach any question, take it line by line. Don't just directly skip to the input format, don't directly skip to the output format. Read it line by line and just focus on what is needed for us. Okay, as soon as you get that, important practice is always write down the input and output first. Yes, then we'll derive a logic of our own and we'll fill up that logic here. Whatever it is, we'll fill up that logic here. Okay, finish off input, finish off output, we'll work on the logic part. All right. Yes, so as I was saying, to implement the logic, we should be comfortable with the stack concept. Some of you may know a stack, some of you may not know a stack. So I'm just going to give you a quick idea on how a stack works. Yes, I'm not going to discuss it in detail because that is not what we need here. To solve this problem, we are going to need some data. So whatever that is, I'll discuss that alone. Okay. So for brackets balancing, we should understand stack concept. Let me show you with a real life example. Consider we have a cylinder. Okay, it's a empty cylinder sealed at the bottom and open at the top. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some balls and place it inside the cylinder. Okay, at first a blue colored ball is dropped inside the cylinder. Do you see that? Cylinder was empty. Blue colored ball is dropped. Next time I am dropping a yellow colored ball. Next time we are dropping a red colored ball. Okay. So now if you look at it, which ball was dropped first? The blue colored ball was dropped first and the red colored ball was dropped at the end. Right, even though this value was added at first, even though the blue colored ball was added at first, I can't remove this blue colored ball first, can I? It is sealed at the bottom guys. I can access it only from the top of the cylinder, which means my quick accessing variable is going to be this red colored ball. This is the one I can draw out first. Even though blue was sent inside first, red color is the one that can be accessed immediately. And which one will be accessed at the end? The first variable to be dropped will be accessed at the end. This will be drawn out at the end. Clear? So I can see that whatever is added last is drawn out first. Right? There is no other way I can do this. Whatever is added at the last is going to be drawn out at first. This is what we call as last in first out, which is LIFO principle. Okay, whatever is added at the last will come out first, which is last to go inside will be the first to come outside. Last in first out principle. This last in first out principle is what you call as a stack concept. This is nothing but a stack, or a literal representation of a stack. Here, whatever is there at the top of stack, okay, whatever was added at last will be dropped first. And this operation, technically speaking, this operation is called as push operation. Adding an element into a stack is technically called as push operation, and removing an element from a stack is technically called as pop operation. Okay, so when I speak about a stack, I'm not going to use the terms insertion and deletion or addition and removal. I will use the term push and pop. Push is nothing but adding an element, pop is nothing but removing an element. Okay, and which element can be accessed throughout the problem? This element, the top of stack element, is the only one to be accessed throughout the problem. Clear? Only the top of stack element can be accessed, nothing else could be accessed. Okay, so how are we going to implement this concept in our problem? Let me show you with an example. Before I start working on the problem, you should know how this stack is going to help us in this scenario. Brackets should be balanced. For every open bracket, there should be a matching close bracket, right? I can't just leave a open bracket like this and then say close it with a round bracket. This is not proper. For an open bracket, there should be a matching close bracket. That is what we are going to check here throughout the program. Okay. So what are the types of brackets we'll be dealing with? We'll be dealing with round bracket or angular bracket, curly brackets, and also nested brackets. Okay. We will be dealing with all of them, not just one bracket. So to deal with everyone, guys, some of you might think we can just count the open brackets and count the close bracket. If both are equal, then yes, it is balanced. Otherwise, it is not balanced. We might be thinking like that. But look at this scenario. Here I have an open bracket. Here I have a close bracket. So one open bracket and one close bracket doesn't mean the brackets are balanced. Okay, that will work if all brackets are same. If everything is a curly bracket or if everything is a round bracket, we can simply count the values. But here I have a mix and match scenario. I might have any brackets. So implement stack concept. Let us see how to do that. Consider an example. Our input is going to be a string. Say this is your string. Okay. So here look at it. I have a user defined function. I have a main function, and all these are placed within curly brackets. Right. User defined function, main function, everything is present within a curly bracket, which means this is not going to throw any compilation errors. Yes, so my output should be no compilation error. How do I do that? Let us understand with the stack. Is only for the first time I'll tell you how to work with the stack and what actually takes place. Okay, as we proceed further, get comfortable with stack operation so that we don't have to go very deep each time, right? So the calculation should be done within your brain itself. Yes. So in the string, the first character is a open bracket. Highlighted one is a open bracket. When you see a open bracket, push it into the stack. Okay. Next we see a open bracket again. So push it into the stack. Okay. Next I see a close bracket. I'm going to differentiate it. When I see a close bracket, you need to know whether the close bracket has a matching open bracket. That's our ultimate aim, right? When I see a close bracket, it should match with someone. Match with which bracket? The most recent unmatched bracket. It should match with recent unmatched bracket, not just any random bracket, whichever is unmatched. I can't choose this curly bracket and see whether they are matching. I need to choose the nearest one, nearest unmatched bracket. What is nearest here? This open bracket is nearest. How do I test that? Top of stack element, whatever is there at top of stack, that top of stack indicates recent unmatched bracket. Can you understand? So when you see a close bracket, compare it with the top of stack element. So what did we do when we see a open bracket? For an open bracket, push it into the stack. For a close bracket, pop an element from the stack. Take this away because these two has to be matched, right? So take it away and see whether the two are matching. Which two are matching? Top of stack bracket should match with str of index bracket. Str of index is nothing but this bracket. The bracket in the string should match with the top of stack bracket. If they are matching, then yes, I don't have any issues. Okay. So they are matching, which means remove this. Okay. Since the two are matching, I have no issues. I'll move on to the next index. What is present at the next index? Open bracket. It's an angular open bracket. So push it into the stack. After this open bracket, what do we find here? We find a close bracket. As I said already, when you see a close bracket, pop the topmost element. What is the top of stack element? Angular open is the top of stack element. So pop it and compare it with the string bracket. Here I have close angular, stack contained open angular. Since both are matching, I don't have any issues. Okay. Move on to the next index. I see a close bracket. When I see a close bracket, I need to know unmatched open bracket. I can't just take the recent open bracket, not the recent open bracket. I need unmatched open bracket. Where can I find it? I can find it in the stack. So take this unmatched open bracket and compare it with your current close bracket. Both are matching. Since both are matching, I don't have any issues. So I'll go to next index. What is present at the next index? Null is present at next index, which means process will stop here. So until I reach null, I didn't find any issues at all. There were no problem with any index, which means this will not throw any compilation error. So what do you understand from this? There are just two steps we did here. What are the two steps? On seeing a open bracket, we pushed it into the stack. On seeing a closed bracket, we popped an element from the stack. Apart from these two, there is one more thing which happened here. What was it? When a pair is obtained for this open bracket, when you see a closed bracket, I found a pair. When I find a pair, that will no longer exist in the stack, right? So when I find this pair, open bracket with a close bracket, when I find this pair, it will not exist in the stack, right? So after the first pair is completed, after this pair is completed, you will again empty the stack. You will contain only unmatched brackets, matched brackets. That is, brackets with the pairs will not exist in the stack. Clear? Okay. So that is the next point. After finding a pair, the bracket that does not exist in the stack. Yes. So now we'll start working on our problem. That's it. Remember these 3 points alone. If it is paired, it will not exist in the stack. Only unmatched open brackets will exist in the stack. When you see an open bracket, perform push. When you see a closed bracket, perform pop. Okay. Now, let me start with easier set of brackets, which is angular brackets, right? So we already had some notes about all three brackets, right? What did we say about angular brackets? We said angular brackets indicates main function and it should be present only once. We said that, right? So I'll make a note of this. Angular bracket indicates main function. It should be present only once. So angular bracket means in our programming part, listen guys, you need to analyze each index value, right? So we are going to analyze each index value starting from 0th index till we reach null character. Okay, take each character and what should we check? We need to check whether it is a angular bracket. First I'm going to work with angular bracket. So it could be a open angular bracket or it could be a sorry, yes, or it could be a close angular bracket. Okay, so yes. So when we see a open bracket, what did we do? We were supposed to push it inside a stack. So now the question is, how do I implement this stack structure? Okay. You can use a linked list to do this. You can go to data structures to do this. If you are comfortable, you can do that. But since I need everybody to understand this, in this session, we are going to use a stack array. Stack is an array of size, say same size 10,001. Okay, stack is an array of size 10,000 would be sufficient. Okay, so stack is an array. Imagine this in the horizontal form, not in the vertical form. So if you had imagined this in a vertical horizontal form, you will have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are nothing but indexes. Similar to a string containing indexes, stack will also contain indexes. Initially, stack has to be empty, which means stack index will be -1. Okay. When I add a open bracket, stack index will change as 0. When you add another open bracket, stack index will change as 1. Okay. So as we keep adding brackets, increase the value. When you pop an element, reduce the value. Okay. And what is this? This is nothing but the top of stack indicated as TOS. Okay. I'm going to use the term TOS indicating top of stack. Top of stack will start from -1. It should start from -1. As you keep moving, if you push an element, increase top of stack. If you pop an element, decrease top of stack. Okay. So have a variable named as top of stack. Okay. Index and top of stack are integers. Index and top of stack are integers. And I need stack. Stack could be of maximum size 10,000. Okay. Top of stack should be initialized as -1. Yes. So what should we do when we see a open angular bracket? When we see a open angular bracket, push it into the stack. Stack of top of stack is equal to this open bracket. Okay. But what should you do? Top of stack will be at -1. So increase the value first. I'm using pre-increment. Or you can write TOS++. Then you can store the value. To reduce the line of code, I'm just using pre-increment here. Okay. Increase the value first. Then store the corresponding element. Clear? Yes. So now let us see some cases where we should add some extra conditions also. Okay. First case, within this curly brackets only, we should have the angular brackets, right? Okay. So let us see how our program is going to work. Yes, guys, look at it. First, I have a open bracket. Let us not take too much time for the working out part. We will have a open bracket. When you push that, stack top of stack will be 0. Then we have another open bracket. Push that, top of stack will be 1. Then when we see a close bracket, for a close bracket, pop this element and see whether the two are matching. they are matching, then you will have a close bracket. So you will pop this one also. And after we reach null, we will stop the operation. So for this test case, it works perfectly fine. Similarly, for the next test case also, you have a pair of brackets here. What did we discuss already? When a pair is found, it will be removed from the stack. So this is not going to cause an issue. Again, similar to the previous problem, this will also not cause any issues. Next one, here we have two open brackets. This is a pair. Okay, this is a pair, and after this pair I have angular bracket. So this is also not going to cause an issue. Consider this test case. I have a close bracket, right? We have a close bracket here. So if I start from first 0th index, we have an open bracket. Open bracket will be pushed, and then we have a close bracket. We will pop this open bracket, right? So now what is our pair? Open curly bracket and close angular bracket will be our pair. Is this a balanced pair? No, it is not a balanced pair. So for a close angular bracket, what should be present as top of stack? Open angular bracket should be present as top of stack. Okay. So in our coding part, when I see a close angular bracket, I am going to ensure that stack top element. Okay. Top of stack, inside the stack is a open angular bracket. Only then it makes some sense. Yes. So if I have a close bracket and an open bracket, in that case I can pop the element. So to pop the element, just reduce the index. If I don't have this, then it means my brackets are not balanced. For a close bracket, if I don't have an open bracket, brackets are not balanced. In that case, use a flag variable, set it as 1 and break. Okay. You can do it without using a flag variable also. For convenience, I'm using a flag variable here. Okay. So initialize flag value as 0. Initialize flag value as 0. If something goes wrong, set flag value as 1 and break the execution. Clear? Okay. Now, how about open bracket? Should we add any extra conditions for the open bracket? For an open bracket, for an open angular bracket, think about it. Okay, so let me change the test case a little. Yes, so let us say this is our program. Yes, look at this test case, look at this one alone. First we have a open curly bracket. We will push that open curly bracket. Then we have a open round bracket. We will push that open round bracket. Then we have a open angular bracket. When we see a open angular bracket, can we push it here? Can we push it here? Think about it. When I see a open angular bracket, we will end up in trouble because main function will be present within some other function. See, they have told you user defined function should not be present within main function. So we are just going to assume here, guys, if it is mentioned in the question, fine. Since it is not mentioned in the question, in this problem we'll consider it as main function should not be present within other functions. Okay, so if it is mentioned, it can be present, go with the flow. Otherwise, I'm going to take it as main cannot be present with another function. So if you have another function here, okay, if your stack already contains another function, for example, your stack already contains a open bracket. If it contains a open bracket, then it is not okay to push this angular bracket. In that case, you should stop the execution. So when can you push the angular bracket? If it is not a round bracket, we can push the angular bracket. Okay. So to push this angular bracket, ensure that we don't have a user defined function. Clear? To push the angular bracket, ensure it is not a user defined function. Then we can push the angular bracket. Okay. Next case. Yes, so our program is going to work for this test case. Obviously, no compilation errors. Next one, look at this. I have one main function and I have another main function, but it should be present only once. So I need to track how many times I have the main function, right? So for main function alone, let us have a flag. Main flag equal to 0. Okay. For main function alone, we'll have a flag. When I see a open bracket, main flag is set as 1, which means I'm denoting I have a main function. So when can you push the angular bracket? If we don't have a main function, we can push the angular bracket. So while you push the angular bracket, ensure that main flag is 0. If we don't have a main function already, then we can push it. Otherwise, we'll go into the else part and break. Clear? Okay. Next case. Okay, so we have dealt with this case also. If you have mismatching brackets, it is not going to work, right? Next one, here also if you have mismatching brackets, it is not going to work. So we have dealt with almost all test cases related to angular brackets. I'm just saying almost because there are still some test cases where our program is going to fail. Always for problems like this, especially consider minimum of 10 to 15 cases. Okay, think of all possible ways for arranging the brackets. Only then we'll end up with the perfect program. Otherwise we may go wrong somewhere. Okay, so this is it about angular brackets for now. We'll come back to angular brackets when I finish the program. Okay, next one is going to be about curly brackets. So what is the data we have about curly brackets? This is the data. The data says curly brackets can be present at start and end of the program. It is also used for loops. Okay, and loop can be nested. Alright. See, now I know that curly brackets have two purposes. What are the two purposes? Start and looping part, which means we need a differentiation, right? I can't just proceed whether I have a curly bracket or not. It is not like angular brackets. It is having two purposes here. So differentiate the purposes. How am I going to differentiate it? I'll differentiate it as for the start and end. For this part alone, see, whenever I see a open bracket, I will just push that bracket. That is all I said, right? But if it is the starting bracket, if it is the starting open bracket, I'm going to push a yes after the starting bracket. Clear? To differentiate, once you push the starting curly bracket, add a yes, then you proceed with your operation. On the other hand, for a looping bracket, we will have only the open bracket alone. Clear? There are many ways we can do this, guys. I'm just telling you my point of view. In my point of view, for the starting bracket, along with the open bracket, I will add a yes also. Okay. So in our program, initially first character itself should be a open bracket, right? So even before we start the for condition, check whether the zeroth index character, okay, sorry, zeroth index character should be a open bracket. If the zeroth index character is a open bracket, as I told you, push that open bracket. Okay, Along with that, in the next top of stack, push yes. Okay. Otherwise, see, there is a minute chance that first character is not an open bracket, right? If your first character is not an open bracket, set flag value as 1. There is no point in testing other characters because first character should be an open bracket. If it is not an open bracket, go to the else part and set flag value as 1. So when I check the condition, I should ensure flag value is 0. Only when flag value is 0, we can proceed to check all the brackets. Clear? So this is for a starting open bracket. What else can I have? We can have some other open bracket because of looping part. We can have some other open bracket because of looping part. Yes. So for this you can just deal it normally. What should we do when we have an open bracket? Whenever we have an open bracket, we can push it inside the stack. So whenever we have an open bracket, we'll push it inside the stack, and when we see a close bracket, str of index is close. So when we see a close bracket, we can pop an element from the stack. Same procedure, but we will have few exceptions here. Sometimes we can do it, sometimes we are not allowed to do it. Let us analyze that. Okay. So think of all possible test cases where a program might cause some issues. Okay. Let me show you the first test case. Open bracket, angular brackets, looping part, close brackets. Right. So how does it work for us? Okay, first when I see the open bracket, this is the first open bracket, which means I will push this open bracket and I'll add yes, indicating this is the starting open bracket. Then we have a curly bracket, so just push it. Then we have a angular bracket followed by curly bracket, push it. Once we see a close bracket, what will we do? We will pop this element, both are matching, so no issues. Then we see the next angular bracket, so we will pop an element, both are matching, no issues. Then we see a curly bracket. See, when I see this curly bracket, there is a difference between these two curly brackets and there is a difference between these two curly brackets. Am I right? Yes, because for this one I will not have any unnecessary character in between, but for this one, for this close bracket, it is the overall close bracket, right? For the overall close bracket, we will have this yes inside the stack. So when you pop an element, you should not pop just one element. We are supposed to pop two elements. Okay. So when I see a close bracket, there is a chance that stack contains yes. Right? When I see a close bracket, there is a chance that my stack will contain yes. If our stack contains yes, in that case, we should pop two elements. Since we added two elements for open bracket, in this case, we will pop two elements, minus 2. Okay. Otherwise, we can pop just one element. Clear? Okay. One more thing I can do here is, once I see this close bracket, it means the string is completed, right? Overall program should be enclosed within an open bracket and a close bracket. So once we see a close bracket, string is completed. So move to null character and stop the process. Okay. So once it is done, move to null character. So index plus plus and stop the process. Clear? So this is the operation we have to do for a close bracket. Okay. Now let us see whether there are any test cases where our program will fail. Okay. Next one. In this case, it should work perfectly fine. So look at it. Where can I have a looping bracket? A looping bracket can be present after a angular bracket. Looping bracket can be present after a round bracket, and a looping bracket can be present after another looping bracket also. Because if it is nested, it will be present after another curly bracket also. All these three are allowed. Okay, after angular or after curly or after round bracket, everything is allowed, but except one. What is that one thing which is not allowed? If I have it like this, looping is present outside a function. Can you see that? Yes, we said it should be present in a function. Here looping is present outside a function, which means after the open bracket. Looping should not be present after the starting bracket. So to track that, I'm going to ensure that top of stack is not a starting bracket. Clear? Because if it is a starting bracket, we would have inserted, we would have pushed that bracket and then yes, right? So when you push a looping bracket, ensure that it is not a starting bracket. Clear? And for a close bracket, what should we ensure? Same thing as every other. For a close bracket, we should ensure that we have a matching open bracket. Stack of top of stack should be matching. Only when it is matching, I can proceed with the problem. Clear? So for an open bracket, one case should be avoided. For a closed bracket, ensure you have an open bracket. So we have completed two instructions. We have completed angular brackets and curly brackets. Next we'll move on into round brackets. So chances are I can have a open round bracket or we can have a closed round bracket. What should we do if it is an open bracket and what should we do if it is a closed bracket? Same procedure guys. If it is an open bracket, increase top of stack and push that element. If it is a closed bracket, decrease top of stack. So automatically it will be removed from the stack. Clear? Now we will handle the exceptional cases. Some cases may not match. As we know already, for a closed bracket, we should have a matching open bracket. Right? Sorry, your stack should contain a matching open bracket. For a closed bracket, stack should be having a matching open bracket. Okay, what are the problems we may face with a open bracket? Think about it. When can you have a open bracket? As they have said already, for round brackets, what are the conditions for round brackets? This part is a condition. I'll just take it separately. Indicates a user defined function. You may have any number, but it is not allowed inside another function. Remember this, right? Consider this test case. User defined function is not within another function. Fine. Here it is within another function. This is wrong. Yes. So the round brackets should not be present after the angular brackets. This is not allowed. So ensure that you don't have a open angular bracket. Okay, ensure that we don't have a open angular bracket. Next, what should we ensure? Similar to this, I may also have it like this. So I have the main, within the main I have a loop, within that loop I have a function. Is this allowed? No. So even after a curly bracket, it should not be present. I'm speaking about a looping bracket, not the starting bracket. We have already differentiated the two, right? So here this round bracket should not be present after a curly bracket. So ensure that also. Should not be present after a curly bracket. If only it is not an angular bracket and if it is not a curly bracket, push it into the stack. Otherwise, go to the else part, set flag as 1 and break. Clear? Okay. Next case. Here I have a open bracket and I have a round close bracket. They are mismatching brackets, so automatically it will stop. Okay, so this is it about round brackets. Next we are going to learn about fourth part, which is instructions. What do we know about instructions? We know that it is represented as P. So one more case to be added here is str of index is equal to P. Okay, we may be having an instruction here. If I have an instruction, what do they say about an instruction? It can be present anywhere inside the program. It should not be present outside the program. Okay, next thing, number of instructions in a user defined function should not be more than 100. Okay, so we should count how many instructions are present in user defined function. So if p is in a user defined function, if p is in a user defined function, we should count that value, right? If it is in a user defined function, count that value. How will I know whether I'm in a user defined function or whether I'm in a main function or whether I'm not in a function at all? How can I guess that? My ultimate aim is knowing a user defined function. To know that user defined function, I will have a flag for user function. Okay, for main we had a flag. Similarly, for user defined function, we will have a flag. Simple. Okay, so where do we identify a user defined function? When I see a round bracket, I have a user defined function. So I will set user flag as 1 because I have found a user defined function. When will it finish? When I see a close bracket, user defined function will finish. So reset the value as 0. So if it is available, flag is 1. If it is not available, flag is 0. So when should I increase the count? If user function is there. So if user flag is 1, I have a user defined function. In that case, count plus plus. Clear? Now, what should we check? Inside every user defined function, count should be not more than 100. Yes. So, when I finish a user defined function, this is where an user defined function will end. When we end a user defined function, ensure that count is less than or equal to 0. If count is less than or equal to 0, then it is okay. So I'll add the condition here. One more condition is count should be less than or equal to 100. Okay. Only when you have less than or equal to 100 instructions, you can proceed. If it is not less than or equal to 100 instructions, if it is more than 100 instructions, then you should not proceed. Okay. So every time you start a user defined function, set count value as 0. Clear? Every time we start, because it is not like all user defined functions should have a total of 100. Each function should have a total of 100. So when I start a function, I'll set count value as 0 and increase the count value each time. Clear? Right. So declare the variable count. Yes. Declare the variable count. No need to initialize it because it will be initialized when we open the brackets. Clear? So what are the cases I need to deal here? We'll check whether everything works. Present within main. Within main means we will not check any condition. So this is going to work. Right? Next case. It is present within the program only. It is present within the curly brackets only. So not an issue. Next case, it is present within an user defined function. How many? 5. So, which is less than or equal to 100. If it is less than or equal to 100, We don't have any issues. So this is also okay. Alright. Next case. This one also, guys, think about this also. Within the looping part it is present. Even though it is within the looping part, all these instructions belong to the same user defined function. So in this case also, count should be considered as 5. Count should not be considered as 3 because the loop is within the function. So take this count also. Count should be considered as 5. Clear? Okay. So is there any other test case we have missed here? Yes. If instruction is present outside the function, we'll come back to this part. Apart from this, okay. So let us just have a quick recap of what we have done. When I see a angular bracket, I should ensure that angular bracket is not within a user defined function, and at the same time angular bracket is not within a looping bracket. Just think of it as statements, you'll understand. This main should not be in a user defined function and it should not be in a loop, right? That is main, and you should not have a pre-existing main function. So these are the three things for a main function: not in a user defined, not in a loop, and not already declared. Okay, there is a two conditions I've added on my own only. So if your question is different, change it accordingly. Okay, next case. When I see a close bracket, I should ensure I have a matching open bracket. Similarly, for a starting, for a looping bracket, I should ensure that loop is present within the function. So I'm ensuring that there is not empty. Okay, it should have some function, it should not be empty. Empty means I'll have the starting bracket, right? So it should not be the starting bracket, only then I have a function, right? So when I see a close bracket, see whether it is the matching open bracket. It could be the matching open bracket, or it could also be, see, for curly bracket alone we will have two cases, right? What are the two cases? We can either have a matching open bracket or we can have the character yes. Right, either it's a looping bracket or it is a starting bracket. For a looping bracket I'll have open bracket, for a starting bracket I'll have yes. So if I have yes, I'll remove both the characters yes and the following open bracket, both will be removed, move to null character and stop the process. Otherwise just remove this open bracket alone, remove that open bracket alone, top of stack minus minus, and continue. Okay, now when I see a round bracket, I should ensure that this user defined function is not present in main and it is not present in a loop. In that case, I can add the user defined function, say that I have a user flag, and since I should count the number of instruction, count is 0. So when I finish off a user defined function, I should ensure I have a matching bracket and at the same time count should not be more than 0. In that case, successful, remove the element and close the user defined function. When you see an instruction, ensure that you have a user defined function, in that case count. If I cannot do any of this operation, I'll set flag value as 1 and break. Clear? So these are the instruction sets we have. Guys, there are multiple ways for coding this. Just to make it as simple as possible, I've added so many else if conditions. Okay. Now, when do I have no errors? If flag value is equal to 0, I can say I have no compilation errors. Right? So is that the only condition I'll need here? Think about it. There are some cases where a program will fail. What are they? If I have two open brackets, shall I check what happens for this program? When we have two open brackets, for the curly bracket, first open bracket, we will push it inside the stack. For the open bracket, we'll push it inside the stack. Then we have an angular bracket. we will push it inside the stack, right? After the curly bracket and after the angular bracket, we'll end up with null character. When I see a null character, I'll stop. So flag value will be 0 itself. Flag value will be 0 itself, which means our program will say no compilation errors, right? That is not correct. So what should you ensure? Think about it, guys. If you have completed the procedure, stack will become empty. Remember, for the open bracket, when I find a close bracket, I'll pop that element. So stack will become empty. Stack should become empty because for matching brackets, you will remove that from the stack. If I have all brackets as matching, stack should become empty at the end. So check one more condition whether stack is empty. If stack is empty, top of stack will become -1. Clear? Stack should be empty at the end. So in our programming part, to ensure we have no errors, flag should be 0, top of stack should be -1. Only then the stack is empty. So this is one case where the program will fail. What is the other case where we will face some issues? Look at this. What will happen in this case? Let us analyze what happens. Okay. Look at the second test case. First I see a open bracket. First to open bracket, push it, add yes. Okay. Then we see a angular bracket. So push it and it will do. Then we see an other angular bracket. So for a close bracket, I will pop the element. Both are matching. Since both are matching, no issues. Then we see a close bracket. This is not a looping bracket, guys. This is a final bracket required for the program, right? This is the final bracket required for the program, which means when I see the final bracket, I will remove two elements. The S will be removed and the open bracket will also be removed. Yes, both the elements will be removed from the stack and we will stop the process. Remember, when we remove two elements, we will move to the next index and stop the process. Generally, if this had been proper, if this was a balanced input, after we close this, we should be having null character, right? After we reach the last bracket, we should have a null character, but in this case, we don't have a null character, right? So here also, we should get the output as we should get the output as compilation error. But our program will give the output as no compilation error because as far as I've checked, brackets are balanced. Flag is okay, stack is empty. Flag will be 0, stack is empty. So we'll naturally say it has no compilation errors. But I have some extra characters in the string. So ensure that your string is also completed. Stack should be empty and we should check that string is completed. All characters in the string should have been completed. Okay. So to say whether it is proper, I should ensure that str of index has reached null. Only when it reaches null, I can confirm that everything is fine. Clear? Simple problem only, guys. So as I've said, you can have your own way of coding. There is no compulsion to follow my way of coding. You can follow your own way, but ensure that you deal with all possible scenarios. There are so many scenarios where a program will fail for such questions. Okay, especially when it comes to brackets, there are chances of mismatching brackets, chances of having extra open brackets, extra close brackets, or improper order of brackets. Deal with everything. Only when you deal with everything, you will be having the perfect solution. Okay. So we'll check whether there is any errors we can find and then we can execute the code. Okay. So here Since we have checked for 0th index already, it is sufficient to start from first index. 0th index is checked already. Don't recheck 0th index. Loop will start from first index. Okay. For angular bracket, no other bracket should be present earlier. For a curly bracket, it should not be present at the start. That is the only thing. For a user defined function, it should not be present within main function. It should not be present within a loop, and it should not be present within another user defined function. Am I right? Yes. It should not be present within another user defined function. So top of stack should not be containing a open bracket already. If it contains a open bracket already, and if you are going to give another open bracket, it means you have one user defined function within another. So don't do that. Clear? And for close bracket, matching open bracket, for an instruction, only one condition. That's it. Right? So take input 1. Yes, look at that. First one has balanced brackets, no compilation errors. Second one has compilation errors because look at this. One user defined function within another. So compilation error. Okay. Next one, everything is balanced, no errors. Next one, everything is balanced, no errors. Clear? So this is one test case. Next one. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this. For the first one, everything is balanced, no errors. Next one, yes, look at this. User defined function is present within the loop of main. So this will throw some errors, obviously. So compilation error. Here, we don't have the starting and ending curly brackets. So compilation error. Next one, at the end, I have an extra function, which is why we have compilation error. Clear? So second test case will pass. What about the third one? Yes, for the third one, extra brackets at the end, compilation error. For this one also, extra brackets at the end, compilation error. Instruction is present at the end, compilation error. Instruction is present at the end, so compilation error. Okay, so far program is working perfectly fine. Next one. Okay, next one. Same thing guys. Here we have extra brackets, error. Here looping is present, not within any function, just like that looping is present. So we have a compilation error. Here brackets are not balanced. Main should be present within open and close. Since it is not balanced, we have an error. And here same thing. User defined brackets are not in the correct order, so we have a compilation error. Okay, so output is correct so far. Last test case, fifth test case. Yes, look at it. First one, bracket is not balanced. I have an open bracket here, but I don't have a closed bracket. So compilation error. In this case, second case, I have given 110 instructions. P is nothing but instruction, right? Purposefully, I gave 110 instruction within a user defined function. Obviously, that is not allowed. Everything else is balanced, right? Open bracket, we have main function, close function and close the program. But since instructions are more than the limit, we have a compilation error. Okay. Similarly, in the next case, I have given only 100 instructions. Okay, not 110. Exactly 100 instruction. Some of them are given within loop also. This is how your hidden test cases will be guys, which is why I am showing you this. Some of them are given within the curly brackets, within the looping part also. Even then, program works perfectly and says no compilation error. Okay. Next one, I've just given the 100 instructions directly. Even then it says no compilation errors. Okay. So that's it. You have completed the program. And one more thing, see, based on your question, because the question doesn't say anything about main in detail. It says you can have only one main, but it is not mentioned as compulsorily we should have one main. I can have a maximum of one main, but should I have compulsorily one main? That is not mentioned. If having a main is compulsory, then add the condition as main flag should be equal to 1. Okay, you should have at least one main. If you don't have one main, then it is also going to throw errors. But it is purely dependent on the question. Look at the question. Based on it, you can finalize. Clear? Okay. So that's it. We have completed the problem. Thank you.